Okay, hello, Ana and Jose.
Giulia, hello. Come stai, bella?
So
Va
nice to
bene.
meet you. It's so nice to meet you. Actually, we've been meeting like few months ago. When we started the lockdown last year. You were doing
Yes,
the 10 hours CET with Indaba last year, and I think that
correct.
was the first time we met.
That was
Yeah.
a good
So
place.
yeah, and now we're doing these 70 hours advanced teacher trainings, and I'm very excited. I will be there myself, doing it as well. I'm so looking forward to it. So we have a few questions to ask, I think, to also for the people who don't know you that much, so that you can share also what this training is about and what people and students can get out of this teacher training. So, can you tell us a little bit more about how you develop this advanced teacher training and what is the difference in between these 17 hours and the 200 hours with you?
Well,
So,
there is some crossover. There is some crossover. Like it's learning forest yoga, and it originally started out with what I perceived as something that was missing in the world of yoga, which was people who knew how to do advanced poses, knew how to coach them, and how to help another person, like in the steps leading up to them, which I call the down levels, or the poses that help build you up in strength and talent to go into these other extraordinary places called advanced poses. Then I started realizing there is also advanced ways of teaching, advanced perceptions, and bringing a ceremonial aspect into your teaching. And then when Jose and I started working together and living together and getting married and all these wonderful things, we began weaving our different magics together to create something even more new. And Jose brings in wonderful, wonderful information and knowledge from all these different places that he's worked in the world, and combining it with mine. This particular course is actually a new flowering between us. So the advanced training, I've been working on that for years and teaching it for years, but this one is a brand new creation and it's very shiny.
Yeah.
so
Anna
you're
and I,
going.
Anna and I are bringing 2 lifetimes of experience into this advanced teacher training. There is no other yoga on this planet, anything even remotely like this Forest Yoga 70-hour training. Anna and I have 2 totally different sets of skills here. I've been touring and traveling the world, over 50 countries for the last 25 years. And I've been part of an Aboriginal dance company called Descendants Aboriginal. Now, the Aboriginal people from Australia are the world's oldest living culture, dating back 60,000 years. So their philosophy, stories, and knowledge outdate all religion, yoga, and all other histories. So we bring some interesting aspects of that into the training. And besides mind-blowing sequencing yoga, we also have music and ceremony, music healing, veganism, money and business. We got lots of courses already within this course. So there's 2 teachers here, and we're giving you lifetime of international experience. Because Anna and I have taught all over the world. We're not just American teachers, we are international teachers, and we have a lifetime of experience to give.
So you don't actually need like a previous 200 hours forest yoga in order to do this one. Do you need
not
any?
at all.
Okay.
I used to have this boundary on this advanced teacher training course that you had to have done some sort of training before, some sort of 200-hour training. But since the whole world has changed, we're letting that boundary go. We have a incredible team of Forest Yoga teachers and guardians in training, which are the more advanced teachers that carry more of the Forest Yoga legacy, who are assisting via cyberspace. And they'll be helping people not only through the 70 hours that we're working on, but as people continue to progress through the course, they'll be available for questions and emails and coaching that way. So we have this amazing team. And as a result, we are able to bring in people that, there's some people that have had recent surgeries, there's some people that have had certain illnesses, but they're just really wanting to immerse with us. And we're letting them come in because we have the team to help support them. One of the aspects that I wanted to mention, like Jose was talking about all these different aspects that we're bringing in, and people need to know that we will be working them on the way they teach. Not just how to teach a pose in Forest Yoga, like how do you teach elbow to knee, but how do you breathe when you teach? Are your words powerful and potent, or do you just babble at your student? Do you have passion and power in what you say? So this is some of what people will be getting coached in, is how to speak in a powerful, effective, and efficient way.
We are creating teachers.
Yes, I think that is one of the most powerful thing of Forest Yoga. I've been practicing Forest Yoga since a while now, and one of my teachers, Ambra and Jambo, they are like two of my main mentors, and they always tell us like how to, like I'm a teacher, also how to breathe as you speak. So I think, especially now that we are teaching online, knowing how to use the voice and breathe, actually, I think we need to learn how to heal ourselves first before like heal other people. And I think that is one of the things that Forest Yoga taught me, like is starting teaching me like throughout the practice. So can I ask you, like now it's been 1 year and a half, we are in this cyber world. So how do you think, what do you think is the benefit for us to be online and to do this teacher training online?
Well, there's been many benefits going online. Previous to the lockdowns and the COVID situation, Anna and I were just touring the world non-stop. We were touring 35 cities, 20 countries every year, year in, year out. It was very, very difficult to maintain such a lifestyle like this. But when we moved online, we all of a sudden had the capacity to connect with people in Russia, China, Spain, Italy, France, all simultaneously, Australia, USA. And we thought, wow, we got an international classroom now. You know, we're not in Moscow, we're not in Spain, and we were able to connect to a much broader audience. So then the next step had to be, how do we transpose our magic into online? Because we had the magic hands and the magic touch when we have students in the class. But after our foundation 200-hour training, Anna and I learned the method to really reach out and connect physically, emotionally, and spiritually with the people. And also, it also gave us a chance for people to do the course in their own time. So we had about 100 people doing the course, the last course with us at the same time. But then we had people who are doing the course in their own time. So, you know, there's people that are mothers or have businesses and they can't do 70 hours or 200 hours. So we give them the recordings for 12 months. And this really works. When the student gets stuck, we have social media groups where they just go into the group and speak to a teacher, speak to a guardian when they're stuck with something or they have questions. And it's working beautifully. And Forest Yoga is at the forefront of these online trainings and assisting online as well. So yes, there was many bad things that happened to us when the COVID situation hit. Like we had to cancel a whole year and refund money for a whole year. That's not good business. However, it has taught us to connect with people in the cyber world.
And in doing so, like Jose touched on, I just want to elaborate. It's like in the courses, how we used to run them when we were face to face with everybody is they went through an experience and then they got whatever they got from it. And then it disappears because people forget. Well, because they'll have this course for a year, they can continue to do the classes or repeat segments as many times as they want. So the learning curve is much deeper. They can do these 9 morning classes in a row for a year. And I highly recommend that. They can look into the sections in the different parts about how to teach or how to see energy or whatever we're teaching about and rewatch it so that the information can really absorb, actually more so than it would in a face-to-face situation where there is no chance to repeat these things.
Yeah.
Because it's an event that happened.
So Julia, with the 70-hour course, it's a very intense advanced course. In the last 20 times Anna have done this, people just do it. They spend 70 hours with us and then it's gone. But now with the recordings for 12 months, they can just continually go over and over and over any segment that they wish to.
I think that is very lucky for students, because I remember when like I did other courses that were not online, like how much time we spent like writing down notes and like focusing on writing notes. And I think the possibility to have the recording is like, it's super special because you can actually focus and just be present in the moment and learn and listen. And then if you want to write down, you have the chance to have the recording and go over and over and over and write like word by word. And you don't have to worry at the time you're doing the training. So I think that is like such a special thing for students.
I think that people will learn much deeper and that they'll be surprised how much they can learn from having the recordings, instead of just trying to go off of memory or off of their own notes, which will most likely be missing pieces of information.
Yes, I do agree. Can I ask you, like, a ceremony is such an important thing for like in Forest Yoga. Do you want to talk a little bit about what ceremony is for you and what kind of effect has on people?
Well, let's firstly go back to when ceremony started. Approximately 60,000 years ago, my people from Australia, the Aboriginal people, possibly were the founding fathers of ceremony. I don't know that for sure, but we do know that ceremony has been around for approximately 60,000 years. So this was the first philosophy. This was the first religion. This was the first connection to animals and nature. This was the first prayer. So it came, our culture from Australia came well before everything else. And it was humankind's effort to connect to God. That's what ceremony is. It's our effort to connect with God, to connect with the animals, the mountains, and all nature around us. So my people in Australia have been using ceremony to protect the tribe, to get spiritual, go deeper, to move from the ordinary to the extraordinary. Takes prayer and it takes ritual. As most organized religions will see, like organized religions have special readings, special hymns, they do smoking ceremonies. They took all this, organized religion took all this from paganism. And paganism, like ceremony, was the first religion. So Anna and I are very, very big on ceremony. My Aboriginal background with my people, and then Anna's Native American background, living on an Indian reservation for 8 years. So we could see what our people have, which white middle class society is missing. There is spiritual deprivation going on in society today. You can't go to society, government, corporations, bankings and finances to get spiritual enlightenment. All you'll get is a headache. So we need to look outside of society for this spiritual nurturing. And the First Nations people can give us this. They can give us this deep understanding. So Anna and I, look, people today are suicidal, they're neurotic, they're dysfunctional. I know, because people are coming to Anna and I all the time with these problems. So what do? Yeah, you can do a yoga class. That only fixes this much of the problem.
It's a good start.
It's a very good start. So Anna and I put together a ceremony where we address physical, emotional, mental, and spiritual all at once. So we have courses within the advanced teacher training to educate people how to become their own savior, their own guru, their own teacher. Anna and I are just leading people there. We are not the gurus, we are the teachers, but we are getting you to the steps for self-salvation.
And we teach people how to access and develop their own wisdom so that they have a guiding voice inside and they're not so easily pushed around by pressures from outside, whether people bullying or misconceptions and misinformation. They have a truth shield inside that they can bring. With ceremony, it is an action to connect to the sacred and then to begin to learn to live your life connecting to the sacred. And in order to do that, you take these actions, whether it's you do the smoke blessing and cleansing ceremony or 4 directions or just putting on music and meditating with it to clear the field and smooth it out. But each of these are actions to realign with a bigger purpose than just whatever the daily stuff is. And then to go through the daily stuff from this deeper, more authentic place changes your life from ordinary and fear and neurosis and all that stuff into something more extraordinary. Where the wonder and magic and mystery, you begin to bathe in it.
I think the extraordinary thing about the way you're teaching people to be spiritual is that you also teach them how to be grounded. And I think there is the thing about being spiritual nowadays, it's too much outside, coming from the outside, and it lacks some groundedness, so it doesn't feel real. It feels like it's something that comes from another place and it's not yours. Whereas through Forest Yoga, I think you find that kind of connection of being grounded, so feel like yourself in order to develop a true spirituality. I don't know if it makes sense what I'm saying.
Yeah, we are totally getting what you're saying, because Julia, there is too much new age bullshit in yoga. Yoga is full of cliches and echoes. So you can be a voice or you can be an echo. And we teach people to be themselves, and we are so grounded. We are realists. We're not trying to you into another universe or anything like that. We are going to ground you first. And prayer is real. Connection to the sacred is real. And the spiritual and First Nations people, this is what I said. This is why we go to them, because they're more real than this white middle class stuff that we've become. And this is why there's so much trash and so much garbage in this. And this is now more than ever, we need to look at First Nations elders and wisdom keepers to give us that grounding and connection with God.
So we help people connect to their authentic self, which most people have no clue how to do. What they've learned to do is to connect and be guided by their conditioning, which is terrible. It's a terrible thing. They're missing out on something so exquisite, because connecting to one's own spirit and then questing for how do you live as your spirit dictates. What kind of work will feed your spirit? How do you have relationships in your life that your spirit comes forward and is present in? Or do you have such superficial relationships in your life that's filled with lies and deception that your spirit flinches away from that? So how do you live embodying your spirit? How do you live in a way that is questing for your own evolution? That is the sexiest, most fun thing ever, to begin to get responsible for your evolution. Doesn't mean you have to do everything yourself. You come to teachers, they inspire you, they give, we will give people tools and gifts and ceremonies to work on, but then you got to do it. We'll teach you beautiful poses, and then you got to do it. And then you get the rewards. And what you get, there's no describing it, because it's different for everybody. When you connect to your breath, it could be like, oh, I just took a deep breath, or I just felt my life force for the first time, really felt it. There's this depth in the layers that we go into that are utterly fascinating.
Yeah. Look, these spiritual connections are very real, and Anna and I have them all the time. But Anna and I are usually much older than the people we are teaching. But we structure each day to get the fullest, most benefit out of each day. We do our business every day. We do our yoga. We cook delicious vegan meals, practice on the piano, sing, pray. We do this every single day. We don't stay idle. Idleness is like a way a fool spends time. And these connections are very real. We pray for people in trouble. We sing for them. We are forever interacting with the sacred. And the sacred speaks to us through the music, through our writing courses. It speaks to us in so many ways. We just need to begin seeing and not looking. So these are some of the tools that we try to teach to the students.
Also, like apart from ceremony, I think one of the most intelligent thing about Forrest yoga is the way you create sequences. And I think it's very beneficial for students of every age and of any background. Do you want to speak a little bit about the importance of creating an intelligent and efficient way of sequencing for students of any kind of injury background, which I think for me is one of the most special thing about Forrest yoga as well?
Yeah, we spend a lot of time teaching about sequencing, and in this course also there'll be many times where trainees will be designing classes and we'll give them feedback, and then they get to test drive it and find out if it feels good in their body. You can have a series of poses and you can arrange them in a way that really hurts, that feels very discordant and injurious. Some poses fit very terribly together. Like if you're doing back bends and then you do forward bends and then you do back bends all in a row like that, it hurts. It's not good. It's terrible sequencing. And so learning how to have some apex poses that you want to get to, let's say you want to get to wheel pose. So from the very beginning of the class, you start sequencing poses that will help open up and turn on and lubricate the bones and the muscles necessary to have an extraordinary experience in wheel. So shoulders, chest, breathing, abdominals, the fronts of the thighs and the hip flexors all need to be opened up and warmed up and strengthened in order to get to wheel and be having an opening, energy moving experience there. So learning how to do that. We also work with teaching about how to work with injuries, because yoga can be incredibly healing. It is the most healing modality if used correctly. So let's say you have a neck injury, learning to relax your neck and let go in your jaw. letting the breath start to rinse out the shards of pain and tension out of your neck, it can make a huge difference in one class. When the pain leaves, then it's easier to go even deeper to sense what else does this area need now that the pain isn't screaming in there. And so you learn to quest for how to make things work. You have to have an in-body experience to learn sequencing. It's not an intellectual process. It is a kinesthetic intelligence. In other words, you feel the pose. You feel what pose will help you get to that pose. You feel what pose is necessary after an apex pose to unwind. You have to test it through feeling, is this helping your body release? Is this a rush of energy, or is this a tweak? This is all part of listening to the signals of what the body is telling you and beginning to discern what these signals mean. Sequencing is huge. We always start out with deep breathing so that you go into your class with that intelligence of the breath and that oxygenation of the brain. So you're starting out alert. We put in a few twists and forward bends and then go to abs, because when you get the abs going, then you have that gut intelligence turned on, and then you are warm in the core and you're less likely to injure in the other poses. The abs need to be turned on very soon in the class. And then we go into whatever the focus is. Like, we write out the classes and test drive them and make sure that class 1 goes beautifully with class 2, with class 3. We've sequenced the whole 9 days. You know, what poses need to be repeated, where do we need to bring in new poses? And it's a wonderful art and science, learning how to sequence. And every year that you start putting your attention into sequencing, it's like learning how to make a beautiful music, like a beautiful orchestra, or it can be really discordant. And you start to awaken to these flows of energy through good sequencing that are exquisite. And you start to learn to work through the energy flows, like what turns the energy on, what brightens it, what dims it or kinks it.
Ana has a reputation for being the queen of yoga sequencing.
Yes.
You know, it was an education for me when I met Ana as well, because I was doing other forms of yoga. And then it wasn't until I started doing yoga with Ana that I realized, wow, everything I'd ever learned was just, well, not all absolute nonsense, but there was a lot of nonsense. And not so much the poses, it was the way the poses went together, like back bends and forward bends in same classes and things like this. And people doing dangerous postures, like in the first 10 minutes of the class, before we're even warmed up.
Even going, like, as soon as I start, like when I started doing practicing forest yoga, I'm a dancer, so I have a background in dance. And, you know, like dancers always have back pain, lower back pain all the time. Since I started doing forest, I was like, wow, I can live without pain and actually feels good. And also going into Surya Namaskar, that people think is a warm-up, but it's not a warm-up. Like, actually, for people who, even for me, that I have, like, I'm used to work with the body, with my body, it feels very weird to go straight away into Surya Namaskar. I cannot imagine for a person that starts yoga for the first time, go first time into forward fold. Oh my God, it feels like I cannot even imagine. So I do agree with you.
Totally. And
it's like Jose has a music background, so he can relate it to music. It's like a beautiful song. There's a beginning, a middle, a crescendo, and an ending, and that's how the poses can go. Or it can just be, I've seen so many teachers, they just like, okay, let's do a wheel pose. And it's like, we've done nothing to lead up to this. This is not correct. This is lazy.
Yeah.
Lazy and ignorant way of teaching. And so this is an aspect that we work with a lot, is teaching people to care enough to put together a powerful sequence, to think about it. Like I said, we write out our sequences and then we test drive them. We make sure they work.
And also, Julia, before we actually start the yoga class, we have a set ceremonial beginning.
Mm.
And the reason we do that ceremony before the beginning of every class is to get people present.
Mm-hmm.
Like it also, we take them out of that busy mind and bring them into this beautiful place we call the second attention. The first attention of the mind is absolute nonsense, absolute garbage. Like, what am I going to do? Or that person said this, or mum said that, or my boyfriend said this, and blah, 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 blah. Stop. So we do a sequence which goes for about 15 minutes at the beginning of the class, which brings the, like we say, we move from the ordinary into the extraordinary. So we set them up because people usually at the beginning of the yoga class are real rat bags. You know, they're fiddling around, they're fussing, they're not present. And we always make sure we bring the student into a nice place before we start the asana.
And so it's like the beginning ceremony, it smooths out and brightens the energetic field of the person and gives them that chance to stop having arguments and nonsense in their head and trying to organize things and shift into a different quality of attention. So quieting, getting really alert.
So as Anna said, it's like a beautiful composition. We have an intriguing beginning, then a midpoint, a sensational midpoint, and then a happy ending for the student. So everyone walks out of the class with a spring in their step and hope in their heart.
And because of Jose's gifts in the music and his gifts as a ceremonial man, he brings this presence into the music that he makes and sends out. Like, he's really good at sending it out. And I'm getting better and better at sending the music into students' bodies so that it goes right down into the bones and helps reorganize their energy in a more holistic way. So in Shavasana, Jose will play music, and there's something that happens that is so beautiful. And there's a restoration that happens, like a overall refreshment of the human being. And we need that right now. In a lot of ways, our people, even though we're in lockdown, we're not working, there's a deep despair and exhaustion. And so this rinses that out.
Yeah. So music healing has been around as long as ceremony was, 60,000 years. But the first instruments were actually drums, the human voice, and hitting sticks together. And then flutes and the didgeridoo. I don't know if you know what the didgeridoo is.
Yeah.
And then flutes. They came in about 40,000 years ago. They were the first instruments, the wind instruments. So we've always used the human voice and music as part of a connection to God. And Anna and I still do that as well. And what we call it dreamtime music. So every savasana, we take the person into the dream time. And the dream time is a place where the waking conscious and the subconscious merge together. And dreams are amazing. Dreams are extraordinary. A dream knows no limits. And this is where my people, the Aboriginal people, have gone into the dream time to get their education, like where to find food, where to find water, how to navigate the stars, how fire was created. We go into dreams because dreams are wiser than men.
And they're more actually real, like true, because we don't fake it.
Yes. Yeah, you can't fake a dream, can you?
Thank you very much for this. Can I ask you just one last question that is more logistical? So people don't actually have to, students don't actually have to prepare or read anything before the course starts, or yes?
Well, preparing, yes. Start doing yoga like every single day. and build it up so that the experience isn't just like, oh my God, you're just getting your ass kicked in the class because it's so big. It's like we're going to be doing 3 hours in the morning and more in the afternoons, on most afternoons. So get strong. Change to a vegan diet. Eat the most highly nutritious foods that you can find. If you do alcohol or drugs, get off it. If you're on pharmaceutical drugs, that's okay. You can stay with that stuff, but start to clean up and get ready, because the more preparation you do for this course, the more extraordinary the experience will be.
And Julia, you don't need to be an advanced student. Intermediate and above, anything above intermediate is good.
And in the poses, we always give different aspects of it. Like if handstand is too much, how do you do something a little easier, like down dog on the wall? Something that it's like we give these different levels. So no matter what's going on for you, if you look at a pose that we're doing in the class, you as a student, and it's like, I don't even know how to get there, one of our team will tap in, or you can call them through the computer and they'll pay attention, and then they'll help you problem solve what part of this pose can you do. This is one of the gifts of a great teacher, is to provide stepping stones for the student to progress on. Like I said, if a handstand is like, oh my God, I can't do that, I'm too this, I have a shoulder injury, then one of our team will come up and give you something that will help you progress to that eventually, like a pose that's more appropriate for whatever is going on for you. That's very important for people to know, because it's not just me and Jose teaching this. We have a teaching team so that people can get more personalized attention when they need it.
And actually knowing how to adapt and modify the pose, I think that means being an advanced practitioner rather than just doing handstand in the most way.
That's a very important thing for people to learn, is how to down level a pose to what it is you need that day, or up level it.
Yeah. So thank you very much for your time. Like, it's that time flies all the time when we speak, and there's like so many interesting things to discuss. And I think like I'm so excited and looking forward in 2 weeks that we start this teacher training and to learn more about it. So thank you very much for all your knowledge and time, and for sharing your passion with me.
Thank you. And we're really excited too. We're very excited about this. We want this to be our next masterpiece. That's how much we're putting into it.
So thank you very much, and see you very soon.
Yes.
Cheers, Julia. Bye.